Tii Item 500, October 13th, 2020. Apple October 2020 event and iOS 14.2 betas. In this episode, we talk about iOS and iPadOS 14.0.1 and 14.2 betas, the big Apple October 2020 event and all the new announcements, plus listener feedback and more, all covered in depth starting after the intro.
Welcome to Today in iPhone.
I like it a lot.
Today in iPhone.
Hey, caller!
Oh yeah!
My beautiful iPhone, which I never have out of my hand and that I do everything with and has become an extension of who I am.
Today's episode is brought to you by Libsyn, the best podcast hosting service, period. Sign up with promo code podcast411 and get the rest of this month and all of next month free. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Rob, and you are listening to the Today in iOS podcast. First up, I want to thank Jeff for sending in the music here in the background. Jeff wrote, "Hi Rob, I made a song called Glass with my iPhone using the Garageband app for free downloads and more music. Follow me at JeffJ6 on Twitter. Regards, Jeff J." Well, thanks, Jeff, for the music. And folks, I will put the full song at the end of the episode. Also want to thank James for sending in the artwork for today's show. James wrote the following. "Hi Rob, here is some artwork for the show I took with my iPhone 11 Pro, edited in the Photos app, and added text in the Over app. Regards, James from North Carolina." Well, thanks, James, for sending this in. And folks, you can see this artwork in the free Tii app via the bonus button for episode 500, or at Instagram.com/todayinios, and also at Facebook.com/todayinios. If you have some artwork and or music that you have created on an iOS device that you would like to share with the audience, please email it to me at todayinios@gmail.com. Please make sure to include which app or apps you use to create said artwork and or music. This is another one of those episodes half recorded the night before on the 12th of October, and then the remainder recorded after the Apple event concludes the following day, which from your perspective would be October 13th, today. So considering that when you listen to this episode that some of the items, some of the rumors, some of the news is pre-event, and then at the end it will be post-event. That said, into the email bag to start. And first up, hi Rob. Can we release the hounds per iOS 14? Regards, Gregory Baylor. And well, I got another voicemail on this. Let me play a voicemail.
Hi Rob, this is Dave in Springfield, Illinois. Listening to episode 499, I got the distinct picture that you want audio rather than a typewritten message. But anyway, I digress. So I noticed that 14.0.1 is now out, and I'm wondering, is it time to release the hounds? And also, I do have a question for your listeners. You're very smart listeners, by the way, and I include myself in that. And maybe you might know the answer. But my mother-in-law, I have noticed, has a lot of trouble on her iPhone. She has an SE, but I'm not sure which SE version. I know it's approximately 2 years old. But anyway, she is constantly tapping in order to open an application or get the right letter when she's sending a message. She does from time to time use the voice-to-text option, but many times not. And sometimes it's because her aim is off, and sometimes it's not. And I know sometimes she presses hard, and I tell her just touch. But I wonder if there is a setting for seniors that you know of that I can kind of guide her through changing it up so that maybe she has a little better time tapping the choice that she wants and having it respond appropriately. Anyway, I do enjoy your show, and I enjoy hearing your thoughts and the knowledge of your listeners. So there it is, my first voice email. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Dave, thanks for the voicemail message. And I'm going to assume your mom has the original iPhone SE. As you said, it's a couple of years old, and the newer iPhone SE just came out this past spring. So that means your mom's iPhone has a really old processor. It's just a little bit better than the iPhone 5S. And that could be a lot to do with the lag. It is an older processor, not as it's time for her to upgrade if you really want to improve everything. That said, if any listeners have any suggestions on speeding up an iPhone SE original to make it more responsive, let us know. 206-666-6364. That's 206-Moondog. Or you can record it and email to us at todayandios@gmail.com. And Dave, per your first question and Greg's question about releasing the hounds, long story short, not yet. There are those reporting issues with both iOS 14 and 14.0.1 about battery life and connectivity issues. Both kind of important things. And yes, Apple released iOS 14.0.1, which fixed a bunch of bugs like camera preview not showing on the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus phones, mail issues with some services, problems with the news widget, Wi-Fi connectivity issues. But there are still reports of keyboard lag and the aforementioned battery life and other wireless connectivity issues. As always, if you did update and are seeing issues, especially connectivity issues, go to Settings, General, Reset, then Reset Network Settings. Choose that. That old standby fix, it's worked for me and it's worked for some others that are having issues with iOS 14. I hope iOS 14.0.2 will be the update we're looking for, or maybe it will be iOS 14.0.3. tvOS had an update already called 14.0.2. In any case, for now, my recommendation is hold on to those hounds if you have not yet upgraded to iOS 14. If you have and are seeing any issues, then try the Reset Network Settings procedure. Again, that's helped quite a few people. Back to the email bag. Hi Rob, I ignored your sound advice and upgraded to iOS 14. Seems to be working fairly well. I did notice that the clock widget does not display the correct time. Please see attached screenshot. Regards, JB. Hi JB, thanks for the email. And I also was having this issue initially where the stock widget, the weather widget, the clock widget were all out of sync. So I did a reset network settings and the issues went away. I would recommend trying that. A little tip, future FAQ, in iOS 14, you may see an orange dot in the upper right-hand side of the notch from time to time. And what that means is at that time, an app is currently accessing your microphone. So if you see that orange dot up there in the upper right, right next to the notch, that means an app is currently accessing your microphone. If that dot is green, then it means that an app is accessing your camera. If you want to see this in action, just call 206-666-6364, put your phone on speakerphone, and you will see the orange dot. That is, if you are running iOS 14.0 or later. Back to the email bag. Good day, sir. We tried updating my wife's Apple Watch Series 3 to Watch OS 7 and said failed as there isn't enough free storage. Only thing installed on the watch was Facebook Messenger and My Ford app. We uninstalled the My Ford app and still never had enough space. We left the Messenger app as she uses it to read her messages. I contacted Apple and they told me to remove things on the phone or unpair and then repair. Well, we unpaired the watch and reset it up as new and then paired it again. After 90 minutes, it finally booted up using watchOS 7. She then put Messenger back on it. I was online and lots of people using Apple Watch Series 3 seem to be having this issue. This watch only has 16 gig. Have you heard of anyone else having this issue? Regards, Ross Craig, St. John's, Newfoundland. Well, thanks, Ross. I have not, but I'll throw it out to the audience if anyone else has had this issue. And did you use Ross's method or something else to upgrade your Series 3 watch to watchOS 7? Love to hear. 206-666-6364. That's 206-Moondog. Or shoot an email to todayandios@gmail.com. And then back to the email bag. Hi, Rob. Well, I finally did what you've been recommending against all these years and upgraded my iPhone and my iPad to iOS 14 within 2 days of its release. I just couldn't resist the lure of switching my AirPods Pro from one device to another. I hated the fact that when I was using the AirPods with my iPad and I got a call, I had to take the phone out of my pocket and manually switch over. First world problems, I know, but I wanted to try it out. That said, I've been using iOS 14 for a week now, and it seems glitch-free so far. The one thing I haven't had much success with is Scribble. I can't get it to automatically create shapes such as squares and circles in Notes. We'll have to play with it for a while more. I do like the fact that I can use the pencil for writing in text boxes. Finally gives me more to do with the pencil. The handwriting recognition seems pretty good. All my apps on both the iPhone and the iPad seem to be working just fine. Somewhat surprising in a first iOS issue. Oh, and of course, I haven't received a single phone call while using my iPad, so I can't find out how that feature I couldn't live without works yet. Regards, Bob. Well, thanks, Bob, for that feedback. And one more here. Hi, Rob. I upgraded to iOS 14 and am noticing many improvements with Shortcuts app. And now I can make my iPhone automatically switch over to lower power mode whenever the charge drops below 40% and switch off Wi-Fi whenever I connect to my car's Bluetooth and CarPlay. But previously, both these actions required me to respond to a prompt. Now it's completely automatic. However, there is one requirement which I can't figure out. I want the phone to lock itself after certain seconds of inactivity on the camera app. You see, my wife uses the camera and then just leaves the iPhone. She doesn't bother to lock it. This means the phone never locks and the battery simply drains. I also accidentally turn on the camera from the lock screen sometimes and didn't notice it. I need to have the phone lock itself even when the camera is turned on if it's inactive for a few minutes. How do I make this happen? Any suggestions is welcome. Thanks for the great show. Regards, Karthik in Texas. Karthik, I'm going to send this one out to the audience. If anyone can help Karthik, if anyone knows a way to make the iPhone automatically lock up even when the camera app is open, would love to hear. Maybe there's another camera app that they need to use to do this. But if anyone has any help, especially with the native camera app, would love to hear it. Give us a call or shoot us an email. And the email address, of course, todayinos@gmail.com. Looking at all the OSs, right now, the current Gold Master released to the public versions of OSs we cover on the show are iOS 14.0.1, iPadOS 14.0.1, tvOS 14.0.2, watchOS 7.0.1. And those are all the ones that were current up to date prior to October 13th. Again, I recommend for anyone on iOS or 13.x or any 13.x to hold off updating, or if they're on watchOS 6.x, also wait. For anyone that did upgrade to a 14 or 7, then yes, update to the double dot updates that are now available. Switching to betas, the current betas out there are iOS 14.2 Beta 2, iPadOS 14.2 Beta 2, tvOS 14.2 Beta 2, and watchOS 7.1 Beta 2. You know, it would be really nice if Apple just went from watchOS 7.1 to watchOS 14.2 and skipped all those numbers in between and get watchOS numbering in sync with iOS, iPadOS, and tvOS. It's just a number, Apple. No reason you can't do this and keep the whole number, the whole number and the single dot number, so x.x, keep that all in sync, with only the double dot number being a little different as needed between the OSs. But it's a wish, it's a dream. Let's step back for a minute to iOS 14.2 Beta 1. This was released to the devs on September 17th and to the public on the 21st. What happened to iOS 14.1, you ask? Yes, well, moving along. 14.2 Beta 1 had most of the new features focused around Control Center, including the addition of the Shazam icon. Now when in bed with the wife and a song comes on in the background of a TV show, you can Shazam it even faster. The magnifier in Control Center now has a new people detection feature that lets you measure the distance between you and another person. This obviously is to help proper social distancing, especially for those that are sight impaired. The mask detection feature to let you know if you're around IQ impaired, well, that was not added this version, but hopefully on the next version. For now, you just need to look to see if they have an Android phone to figure that out. There are also design changes to the Control Center media player, which offers bigger artwork and an improved interface. If you're thinking those new features are not really worthy of a single dot update, especially one that skips a number, yes, I agree. Kind of a head scratcher of a single dot update, if you ask me. Apple also released Beta 2 of iOS 14.2 since the last episode. Apple added a bunch of new emojis with the Beta 2. These new emojis are per the new Unicode 13 release. There are 117, I think it is, 117 new emojis in this release. There are updated and improvements to the AirPlay 2 control center interface. And for those with an Apple Watch, 14.2 Beta 2 with watchOS 7.1 Beta 2 brings back support for the new blood oxygen app, along with the new watch faces that were also missing in Beta 1. So one of the issues of Beta 1 was they were missing those things, but they're back in Beta 2. Between now and Thanksgiving, expect the 14.2 beta to come out of beta and go Gold Master, and expect also some other double dot updates for iOS 14.0. So we should have quite a bit of activity here, especially starting on the 13th with iOS and iPadOS and watchOS and tvOS. And maybe even Apple, well, could you consider going to watchOS 14.2 to match up with the others, please? For those listening on October 13th, today is Amazon Prime Day. Well, it's one of two Prime Days that Amazon's going over this year. They're also having deals on October 14th. But for the first time I can remember, the date is actually a prime number. 1013, as in 1013, on a US calendar system we're using, of course, where month comes before day. It is a prime number. So thank you, Amazon, for finally having a prime day on a prime number. Is that so hard to do? And there are lots of good deals going around. ChargeTech pre-announced they would be having deals on their charging products up to 50% off. Link in the show notes to the ChargeTech place. Love the ChargeTech products, not being paid, not having any sort of endorsement deal there, just purely saying I like the ChargeTech products. And if you're looking for some good battery packs, which is a good idea to have in the upcoming chaos, yes, go get some on Prime Day. Amazon Prime Day is typically a good day to get other accessories for your iOS device. So yeah, definitely check out Amazon today after you hear this episode and see if there's anything that you need for yourself or for a significant other or kids for Christmas. It's a good time to pick up some accessories for Christmas time. This episode, I want to talk about podcast hosting. Do you know the ratio of blogs to podcasts is over 2,000 to 1? If you want to stand out from the crowd, podcasting is the best way. There's more time in the day for people to listen to podcasts than for them to read blogs or watch videos. This allows you to get in front of your audience when they are driving the car or walking the dog or working out or even working. Podcasting will help differentiate you from your fellow coworkers and help if you want to speak at virtual conferences and events. Plus, podcasting is fun. It is something I've done now for 16 years. Recently, I wanted to see if I could come up with an idea for a show and launch a podcast in less than an hour. And the idea was a true crime podcast about serial killers a serial killer who only kills true crime podcasters and does so only on Monday mornings with a Harry's Razor. And I was able to do that, launching Meta Monday Murdercast with artwork and a trailer episode all in less than 60 minutes. It really is that quick to get a show out and going. And the best place to host a podcast, absolutely positively, is Libsyn, Libsyn. And if you use promo code podcast411, you will get the rest of the current month free and all of next month free. For anyone that does start a podcast on Libsyn, if you send me a promo for your podcast, I'll play it on a future episode of TII. Libsyn, for those that do not follow the podcasting space, is the largest podcast host by number of active podcasts, active episodes, and total number of downloads. Beyond it being where I host TII and work, it is where Joe Rogan and Dan Carlin and macOS Ken and Dave Ramsey and Joyce Meyer and eBay and HBO and even Microsoft host their podcasts. Again, just use promo code podcast411 to get the rest of the month you sign up in free, plus all of the following month.
Hey, this is Toby Mark. I'm actually calling. Maybe this will probably create more questions than answers, maybe. But as far as iTunes Match, I would like to know the answer to that myself. I've had it for years. I have over 2,100 original CDs I ended up importing to iTunes, and I'm always afraid that I'm going to lose that entire collection because I have it in that cloud and in that ecosystem. So the way I did not have to pay that monthly, that would be great. And, that being said, I do pay the $15 for the iTunes. So these new bundles that I just heard about on your program at $19.95 may actually be a great option for someone like me who has been debating on switching from iTunes to another platform that's more integrated with other stuff such as Waze and PlayStation and whatnot. But that's my 2 cents. Thanks.
Toby, thanks for the voicemail. And into the email bag we go. Hi, Rob. In the middle of listening to TII episode 499, I feel compelled to write and add to your information provided regarding Watch 6's capability to monitor O2 levels in the blood. Please note that the pulse oximetry has not been FDA approved. Does that mean it's not accurate? Of course not. It's just not been studied. Well, not yet. I don't think that we have any reason to believe Apple would not have done their own detailed studies. I'm sure that it's fairly accurate. Just keep in mind that skin temperature, skin hue, body makeup, if it's on the wrist of the watch, and ambient lighting may also possibly affect the results. That being said, the Series 6 will soon be mine. Thank you. Love your podcast. Regards, Dave in Springfield, Illinois. Well, thanks, Dave, for that feedback.
Hey, Rob Gunner from Chicago. In response to Dave from Springfield talking about iTunes Match, I still use iTunes Match, and I love it. I've got a lot of rare CDs, bootleg stuff like that, so I like being able to listen to them. Got a lot of stuff that's not on Apple Music. The other thing is I do audio production, so I can save that stuff iTunes and listen to it on my phone without having to transfer it back and forth. So I love iTunes Match. I still use it. I would be very, very disappointed if Apple got rid of it. In fact, I would use that more than I use Apple Music. So thanks, Rob. Thanks, Dave. Hope this answers.
Hi, this is Anna in Pittsburgh, Kansas. I am calling in regard to the person who was wondering what iTunes Match is good for. I have used it from the beginning. I've never used Apple Music or Spotify or any of that. I have a really large library because both me and my husband and my daughter collect a lot of music. And the thing that I love about it is that if anybody buys something and adds it to their collection, it shows up and it's available for everybody on every device. I can, listen to something that I bought, whether it be on my computer or an iPhone. If my daughter buys something, I can have access to it as well. It's just a really nice way to share a collection if you have a large one over multiple devices. And at this point, you can have up to 100,000 tracks. So for $25 a year, I find that well worth it. Hope that helps. Bye.
Thanks to Anna, to Gunnar, to Dave, and to Toby for your feedback and comments. One rumor about the iPhone 12 from CNN and a bunch of other places, and really I'd say from CNN it's more of a wish than a rumor, was a faster refresh rate for the screen on the iPhone 12, going to 120 hertz display like with the iPad Pro, which is part of the reason behind this rumor. It is already out there in another Apple device. Some chase this rumor all the way down the rabbit hole and say if Apple is going to do 120 hertz refresh rate, then why not support the Apple Pencil 2, which requires that high refresh rate to work? The one reason this may not come to pass is battery life. Faster refresh rate does lead to diminished battery life, and that on top of the power drain that you're going to get from the 5G chipsets, and you really start to degrade battery life for the iPhone 12 Pro Max and other iPhone 12s. Would it be nice to get both with this generation of iPhone? Heck yeah. But will we get both? Likely not. The good news is, in about half an hour or so, you'll know for sure.
Hey, Rob. It's Justin in Pennsylvania again. I wanted to respond to your call for more feedback about iOS 14. I've been running it throughout the entire beta period. When it started, super stable, went straight through. Now that we're on what I'm assuming is probably the Gold Master, I still actually had a crash a couple of days ago, but it wasn't too bad. I'm really interested in seeing, is there anything different that a third-party widget can do that isn't out there? Like, I'm most interested in seeing what Overcast does because they always are very quick and pretty amazing at how they update their app. I know you've talked about it on the show already. Preferred podcast app for probably 3 or 4 years now. I pay for the yearly subscription. But honestly, I haven't run into app compatibility problems even without the apps all being updated yet. I have tried changing the default browser from Safari to Chrome because that just was available. Honestly, I don't really like the Chrome browser that much on my phone, but I wanted to try it just to see did it make a big difference. And other than it opening Chrome when you click the link, that's what it does. If you like that app, then go for it. Or there's other browsers that you'll be able to change in the future. I do believe you'll also be able to change the Mail app. I think it's the browser and the Mail app that you're able to change. The minimize Siri, I still think the biggest problem with the minimal Siri is that it still locks your entire screen. Like, you can't keep playing with it. Like, as soon as you touch the screen, it sends Siri away. So although it's not this big, huge black screen that comes over, it's now this little blue ball, but it still makes your screen unusable while it's there. I kind of wish they would do what they did with the call, when you get a FaceTime call or a phone call, and allow it to just be a banner that you can still do everything else with your phone. And I wish they would do that with Siri. That's probably my biggest complaint about changes. But honestly, it's a pretty solid update. I mean, if you update on day one, you're saying I'm going to be a beta tester of sorts, but I haven't run into any issues. I plan on jumping off the betas once there's a solid iOS 14 version out there, just because I don't like my phone being on a beta for months and months and months at a time. But honestly, this beta's been good. I would update, honestly, just if you're interested in widgets and stuff like that and you're excited, it's a solid update. So thank you very much, Rob. I love the show. I can't wait to hear the next episode. Have a great day. Bye.
Justin, as always, thanks for the feedback. And we're almost ready for the Apple event. It is pretty much a certainty that there will be a 5G iPhone released. Many rumors, maybe all of the iPhones will be 5G, according to the rumors out there. The Apple invite all but guarantees a 5G iPhone with the tagline high, speed. And it really looks to mean speedier wireless connection from the graphics. That, per the email I received from Apple, it continues on with below high speed. It then says, good news travels fast. Yeah, subtle, Apple. Very, very subtle. I would be very, very shocked if 5G is not available for at least the top of the line iPhones. And I really think it'll be available for all the new iPhones Apple releases today. And that is all for the night before. We'll finish up tomorrow after the event. So not long to see how right or wrong I just was. And now we're on here at the 13th. After the event started 10 a.m. Pacific time, right up front starts out with a video. This one had a night theme to start with, so maybe better nighttime photos. Then it transitioned to a sunrise all around the Apple spaceship campus we went. Very pretty video. Thank you, Apple. Tim Cook starts out with a quick recap of the September product intros and then right into the first new product. And first off is for the home, and it's the newest addition to the HomePod family. Another short video and the introduction of the HomePod Mini. So Bob comes out on stage, talks about the Mini, a key few things they wanted to achieve with this. Amazing sound, it be an intelligent assistant, a smart home, and privacy and security. So those 4 kind of key areas they wanted to look at. The HomePod Mini uses the Apple S5 chip. It's supposed to have really good speakers for great sound, better than what you would get from other smart assistants. If you place 2 of them in a room, they are smart and become aware and become a stereo pair. You can play podcasts. It works with Apple Music and iHeartRadio and radio.com, and of course Apple Podcasts and TuneIn. And later on, it will support Pandora and Amazon Music, which all of those other than Apple Music have podcasts. So lots of ways to get this show on a HomePod Mini, because you find the show on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, radio.com, TuneIn, and Pandora, and Amazon Music as well. So the HomePod Mini comes fully connects with Siri, and it recognizes who in your home is asking it what. So if you say send a text to Jane Doe, it comes from you, not your significant other or kids or parents. And it only works on those personal requests. It will send it from you, from your phone, if your iPhone is home with you. So it knows who's speaking and then only sends it from that person if their iPhone is home with them. So this way you can't imitate your mom's voice and have it send a text to your teacher saying, please excuse Jimmy from, or Jane, I guess if you're imitating your mom's voice, Jane from today's classes. It integrates with the Home app so you can control smart devices as you would hope for and expect. New feature is intercom. That lets you send messages to other HomePods or all the HomePods in your house, and also connects with all your other Apple devices. If you bring your iPhone near it, it recognizes it and shares features. It comes in white and space gray. Size-wise, it looks to be about a third the size of the original HomePod, and it's just $99, which is about a third the price of the original HomePod. And you can order it on November 6th, and it'll start shipping the week of November 16th. I can't wait to get a few of these to spread around the new house we'll be moving into in November. So timing on this is perfect. We're going to set the house up as a smart HomePod house. It was a quick introduction of the HomePod. Tim was back at the 13-minute mark, so really just about 12 minutes were spent on the HomePod Mini. Next up was the iPhone, and did a little recap. iPhone 11, number one smartphone in the world, number one customer satisfaction, lots of yada yada. And then Tim came out and said 5G to the iPhone as expected. Matter of fact, 5G for all new iPhones being announced, which, hey, go back a few minutes in the show and we were right. Of course, that was about almost a day ago. 5G, of course, is faster speeds and works better in less populated areas. That is the key between it and 4G. I mean, yes, the speeds are better, but they're not super better. They're better. Okay, we'll get into speeds here in a second. But the key thing is it works in less populated areas. So where you couldn't get 4G, you now can get 5G. Tim introduced the CEO of Verizon. He came out and talked about Verizon's 5G ultra wideband network. This is for more densely populated areas. This isn't for the unpopulated areas. Note, this ultra wideband network is just per Verizon, and peak download speeds they see up to 4 gigabytes down and up to 200 megabyte peak upload speeds. Super low latency, great for gamers. The Verizon CEO ended with saying this, quote, 5G just got real, unquote. At the 20-minute mark, Tim came back, and the first iPhone they're introducing with 5G is the iPhone 12. 2 cameras on the back, 6.1-inch screen, smooth edges. It is 5 colors available this time around: black, white, red, blue, and the light green. It's thinner and lighter than the 11. Super Retina XDR OLED screen. So now all the new iPhones announced this day are all OLED. So all the iPhone 12s and are OLED. 2,000,000:1 contrast ratio. But here's a nice, interesting, hopefully realistic new feature. And the cover glass is new with a ceramic shield, something infused into the glass. It's supposed to improve toughness. And Apple said it's tougher than any smartphone glass out there, 4 times better drop performance. But let me just say this, still get a case. 5G bands, they're claiming that the iPhone 12 has more of them than any other smartphone. It will switch automatically between LTE and 5G depending on speeds needed, and this will save on battery life. Apple completed 5G testing with 100 carriers around the world. So they're rolling this out to 100 carriers on launch. Per 5G non-ultra wideband, they said they were seeing peak speeds of 3.5 gigabits down, not so much slower than the ultra wideband. So pretty good overall 5G performance, even outside of the ultra wideband. The heart of the new iPhone 12s, the A14 Bionic, the first smartphone chip built with 5 nanometer technology, a 6-core CPU, which is 50% faster than A13, 4-core GPU. It's the fastest GPU on the market. The neural engines are now up to 16 cores, was 8 cores. It's 80% faster than last generation. It has the ML accelerators for 70% faster response. That's the motion detectors. 11.8 billion transistors and 11 trillion operations per second, which means, hey, more transistors and faster operation. The camera, we are now have the new dual cameras on the back. One is a 12 megapixel ultra wide f2.4 aperture, 5 element lens, 13 millimeter focal length, 120 degrees field of view. And then the other wide one is a 12 megapixel as well, 1.6 aperture, 7 element lens, the first 7 element lens, 26 millimeter focal length, optical image stabilization. They introduced that night mode will now get even better. So I don't know if it's the introduction, but just saying that night mode is getting better. And all cameras on the iPhone 12, including the selfie camera, will get the better night mode features. So that's nice for anyone that wants to take nighttime video pictures. All the cameras, selfie and back, now support night mode. Video, they introduced a new night mode time-lapse feature, and it has 4K video at 60 frames per second. LTE up to 2 gigabits per second, so not that much slower than the 5G. Haptic touch, Face ID, IP68 to 6 meters for 30 minutes, which is pretty good for water resistance. Wireless charging, they introduced a new feature, the MagSafe feature for the back of the iPhones. There's magnetics in there, and you can now snap to the back so that you know that your mag charger actually really did get the right places. They have cases for the iPhones that support MagSafe. There's a MagSafe charger from Apple and from third parties already working on this. I mentioned one from Belkin. The one from Apple has 2 chargers on this charger, one for the iPhone, one for the Apple Watch, so you can charge them both together, which you kind of need some of those. Well, you need the brick. We'll get to that in a minute. At the 38-minute mark, Apple went into their renewable energy spiel and resource segment that we saw on the last Apple event. The woman from Apple talked about how there are hundreds of millions of wired headphones out there and billions of charging bricks. And with a smile, she said they are removing them from the box, spinning it as a good thing for the environment. Yeah, I'll buy that for $1. So if you didn't catch what I just said there, no more wired headphones, no more charging bricks. Outside of the iPhone itself, it sounds like the only thing you're going to get in the USB-C, in the box, is the USB-C to Lightning cord. And that it now comes with. So you get the phone and the USB-C to Lightning cord. So yeah, all those bricks that she mentioned being out there, they're USB-A bricks, not USB-C. So yeah, now I have to go and order another charging brick that supports USB-C cord that comes in the box. And that's going to come in another box and have it delivered by another delivery truck. And then I'm going to have to order some headphones and have them delivered from another delivery truck. So yeah, this is good per the environment. How? And all those boxes, by the way, are bigger combined than last year's box on its own, which Apple touted the new box is smaller because, well, yeah, it has less stuff inside. So yeah, thanks, Apple. Apple then introduced the iPhone 12 mini, same specs as the 12, except it has a 5.4-inch display versus the 6.1-inch display. It's smaller and lighter than the iPhone 8 and the new SE, but has a bigger screen. So 5.4 inches versus 4.7 on the iPhone 8/SE, new SE. The mini is 5.18 inches by 2.53 by 0.29 inches and weighs in at 4.76 ounces versus the SE, which is 5.45 by 2.65 by 0.29 inches and weighs 5.22 ounces. So again, smaller and lighter than the iPhone SE, but no home button, so my wife won't want it. The mini is now the smallest iPhone available for all of you missing the old SE or still using the original SE and waiting to upgrade. Pricing starts at $699 for the mini, the 12 mini, I should say, $799 for the 12. That's for the 64 not enough gigabyte versions. And those prices are if you're getting the AT&T version or the Verizon version. If you're getting the T-Mobile, Sprint, or the SIM-free version in the US, then pricing is $30 more. It's an additional $50 for the 128 barely enough gigabytes, and an additional $150 if you want to get the 256, that's the right amount gigabyte version. So if you want the SIM-free version with 256 gig of the mini, it'll be $879. It's $979 for the 12 for those specs. For the 12 and the 12 mini, pre-orders start on November 6th, shipping November 13th. At the 45-minute mark, Tim came back and to talk about the iPhone Pro series. And there'll be a 12 Pro and a 12 Pro Max. 3 cameras again. Polished stainless steel band around the outside. Looks pretty. It will get covered up right away with my case. But hey, it looked pretty when I got it out of the box. 4 colors. Silver, black, gold, and blue. Silver, graphite, gold, and Pacific blue. The glass comes with the same ceramic shield introed for the 12. It also has the MagSafe feature. The 2 screen sizes are now 6.1 inches and 6.7 inch displays. This versus the 5.8 and 6.5 for the 11 Pro and Pro Max last year. You're getting a larger display, but the same basic size. The 12 Pro Max, for example, is just 1 millimeter wider and just 2 millimeters longer versus the 11 Pro Max. And the 12 Pro Max is 0.29 inches in depth versus 0.32 inches in depth for the 11 Pro Max. So it's thinner. So you're getting barely wider, barely longer, barely thinner, and about the same weight as what you got with the 11 Pro Max, but you're going from 6.5 inches to 6.7 inches in the screen size for those of you getting the Max like myself. So a little bit bigger screen. Both, of course, use the A14 Bionic chip that we talked about earlier. It has the image signaling processor for deep fusion on all 4 cameras. Overall, the camera specs were similar to last year's model, but there are some improvements. And a lot of those improvements have to do with the sensors. There's an 87% improvement in low light from the 11 Pro Max to the 12 Pro Max. Optical zoom goes from 4x on the 11 Pro Max to 5x on the 12 Pro Max and Pro. So the Pro and the Pro Max camera specs are the same. On the Pro series, the digital zoom is now up to 12x for photos and up to 7x for video. So both of those improved versus the 11 Pros. Battery life was not talked about, but looking online, it's supposed to be the same. So no improvement or detriment on battery life. We'll see if real world how that works out with 5G. The Pro series is also IP68 to 6 meters for 30 minutes of water resistance. Apple introduced the new Apple Pro Raw, and they announced it. It will be available later this year, and this is where you can use the raw camera image for better editing of photos. Apple announced HDR video recording, 10-bit HDR recording, and it's the first camera to record in Dolby Vision HDR. Apple did introduce a LiDAR scanner. That had been a rumor way back when, earlier this year. This for AR applications, but more importantly, it's used for autofocus in low light. So you get faster focus in low light, 6 times faster in low light than last year's phone. Same price as the iPhone 11. So pricing didn't change what you paid previously. Now there is one change. The 64, not even close to enough gigabytes, is now replaced by 128, not really enough gigabytes. And then you have a 256. That's good enough gigabytes. And 512, well, yeah, that works for me, gigabyte versions. So you got 128, 256, and 512. Pricing starts at $999 and $1099 for the Pro and the Pro Max. Pre-orders on November 16th, launch on November 23rd. So overall, the real big difference, the Pro and the Pro Max versus the 12, better cameras, much better cameras and sensors for those cameras and what you can do there. And the LiDAR, obviously, on the back for better nighttime focusing. And more importantly, in Apple's mind at least, is better for AR. So we're going to see more AR features coming out this year. You're going to hear a lot more about AR. Oy vey, sorry. So in a recap, Tim came back 65 minutes in. Tim came back recapping this. So there was only 20 minutes on the Pro Series. It was longer amount of time on the 12 and 12 mini. And what Tim talked about was on the recap, 4 new iPhones and the HomePod mini. The iPhone SE and the iPhone XR and the iPhone 11 remain in the lineup. The 11 Pro and Pro Max are no longer in the lineup. Those are gone. Off, at least in the US. The iPhone SE SIM-free starts at $399. There is no $30 bump for the SIM-free version. However, it says what's in the box is just the phone and the USB-C to Lightning cable. The iPhone XR starts at $499. Also, no bump for the SIM-free version. And it also lost the charging bricks and the headphones. The 11 starts at $599. Again, no bump in the SIM-free version. And it lost the charging brick and the headphones. So to sum up, iPhones no longer come with charging bricks or headphones. Not new ones, not old ones. None currently for sale have headphones or charging bricks. For the iPhone 12 and 12 mini, there is a $30 adder for the SIM-free version. For the 12 Pro and the Pro Max, there is not the $30 adder for the SIM-free. So only the 12 and the 12 mini have the $30 adder. Confused? Yeah, it took me some double, triple checking on all of this. And that was it. Wrapped up at 68 minutes in. This was done and in the books. So which one am I buying? Well, I'm going to go with the 12 Pro Max. I'm going to go with the blue. I thought the blue looked nice. I'm going to go with the 512. And I have to wait until the 22nd before I can order it because I can't put anything on my credit card until after my house closes on the 21st. So I have to wait until after closing to order it. I'm going to try to go around on the 23rd and go to the Apple store here in Tennessee and see if I can pick one up. Hopefully they have one in stock. I'm crossing my fingers and hoping there's not too much great demand. We'll find out, but I have a feeling I might be ordering it online for on the 23rd if I can't find one locally and just waiting for it to show up. But I'm going with the blue 512 Pro Max. Let me know what version you're looking at. What's it going to be that you're going to order? You wait until November to get the 12 mini. Give me a call, 206-666-6364. That's 206-MOONDOG, or shoot an email. This one's easy to shoot an email on. Just say which one you plan to buy, or if you don't plan to buy any, and especially if you're with the 11 Pro Max. I think it's going to be really hard to upgrade from the 11 Pro Max. Even from the 10s Max, there was some questions on it, but I knew if there was a 5G, I really wanted to get the 5G. So the 5G is what pushed me over the edge. If you travel a lot for work in a different world, then yeah, the 5G makes a lot of sense. I'm hoping to travel again. We'll see how that goes. But for me, at least initially looking this over, I'm going with the 12 Pro Max, 512 blue. Hopefully they have that, but I'll take any color really on that day. I'll just be like, you have any color? I'll take any color because it's going in a case, and you do need to get a case for this, and it's a MagSafe, and you're going to need to get a charging brick. Thanks, Apple. And let me know your thoughts on the removal of the charging brick and the removal of the headphones. Well, how do you feel about that? 206-666-6364, 206-MOONDOG. Really, that one's better for voicemail. How much do you cost?
I strive to be invaluable.
How much do you cost?
I'm a pearl beyond price.
How much do you cost?
I hope you find me priceless.
All right, folks, we're going to wrap it up here because I want to get this out so some of you can listen to it on your drive home. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I want to remind you, if you're looking to do a podcast, there is only one podcast host you need to look at, Libsyn, one that actually cares about listeners' privacy. Sign up with promo code podcast411 and get the rest of this month free and all of next month free. And if you do that and send me a trailer for your show, I will be sure to play it on a future episode of TII. And before we go today, I want to remind you to send in your feedback to the show, 206-666-6364. That's 206-MOONDOG. Or record your feedback and email to the show at todayinios@gmail.com. Feedback can be a question or comment per something said on this episode. It could be a question or rant about something else. an app, a product review, good or bad, as long as it's iOS related, it is welcomed. And I'm always looking for new artwork to feature that you've created on an iOS device. Just put some TII branding on it and send it in. And of course, we're always looking for more music created on an iOS device to play on the show. This is your show, and your feedback is greatly desired. And while we're talking about it, don't forget to check out our moderated MeWe community by going to todayios.com/community. When you go there, you need to request to be added. I have 2 questions. First one, it seems to quickly weed out the Android fanboys. I ask, which is the better OS, iOS or Android? And the Android fanboys can't bring themselves to say iOS, so they're gone. And then I also ask what TII stands for, which, of course, Today in iOS. So answer that. And it is a nice Android fanboy free zone. You can ask questions. You can post articles about pretty much anything Apple related, and you won't feel persecuted there. And finally, check out the Tii app, which is free to you. Search for Tii in the iTunes App Store or the iOS App Store. It is the best way to consume the show and to get push notifications each time a new episode of Tii is released. It's fully voiceover friendly, of course. Please go right now and download the Tii app or get the update if you already have it. Until the next time, I'm your host, Rob, reminding you to social distance responsibly. The show is hosted on Libsyn.com and part of the Libsyn Media Network. If you are looking for podcast hosting, go to Libsyn.com. That is Libsyn.com for hosting for your podcast and creation of your own smartphone app. The Today in iOS podcast can be found everywhere you listen to podcasts. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Overcast, Stitcher, and everywhere else you listen to audio.